The legacy of the Empire. The Galactic Empire was long dead. Or so the galaxy believed. In the aftermath of the Sith's downfall and the Republic's rebirth, a new generation took its first breaths in a galaxy free of Palpatine's tyranny. But freedom is a fragile illusion. The Empire's shadow lingered, not just in the hearts of its former officers but in the very infrastructure of the galaxy. Star destroyers rusted in orbit above lifeless planets. Imperial databanks held forgotten secrets buried beneath bureaucratic ruins. And in the unknown regions, remnants of the Empire had never stopped scheming. The New Republic believed it had erased the Empire's influence. They were wrong. The unfinished war. On the outer rim world of Morad V, a lone figure stood in a rain-soaked alley, scanning the horizon with practiced patience. His name was Captain Varen Kale, a former stormtrooper who had deserted after the Battle of Endor. He wasn't proud of his past, but survival demanded pragmatism. Morad V was a backwater, but it held something precious, an old Imperial archive buried deep beneath the city ruins. Word had spread that inside was a final directive issued by Palpatine himself, a contingency plan beyond Operation Cinder. Something worse. Kale wasn't the only one looking for it. The New Republic had sent a small force led by Commander Ayla Ven, a battle-hardened officer who had seen too many Imperials slip through the cracks. And lurking in the shadows were the true inheritors of the Empire's will, the Imperial remnants, led by Moff Ryler Kane. The Emperor's final order. Deep within the ruins, Kale and his team navigated through crumbling durasteel corridors. The archive was more than a relic, it was a sealed vault protected by ancient Imperial encryption. As Kale worked to break the code, his second-in-command, an ex-Imperial analyst named Jex Orlan, paled as he read the decrypted files. This wasn't just a backup plan, Orlan muttered. It's a failsafe. The file detailed Order Null, a directive designed to activate sleeper cells hidden across the galaxy. These weren't just agents, they were entire planetary systems, industries, and military installations that had remained dormant, waiting for a single transmission to awaken them. And someone had already sent the signal. The return of the unseen hand. The first world to fall was Dandoran. Overnight, its peaceful streets turned into a war zone. Former Imperial governors, still secretly loyal to the old regime, activated hidden battalions of stormtroopers. Shipyards that had produced freighters for the Republic suddenly launched swarms of TIE fighters. The New Republic, stretched thin after years of post-war rebuilding, scrambled to respond. Across the galaxy, more systems fell in line. Corellian shipyards, long thought loyal to the Republic, revealed Imperial sympathizers in high ranks. Communoan cloning facilities, assumed destroyed, reactivated under secret orders. And in the deep core, an ancient Sith warship emerged from hyperspace, its crew carrying orders written decades before. The ghosts of the Empire. Commander Ven barely escaped Morad V with her life, but she had seen enough. The New Republic was not ready for this. The Empire had not truly died, it had merely waited. Desperate, she turned to the last person she ever expected to seek help from, Kale. You knew about this, she accused. I knew something was coming, he admitted. I just didn't know how bad it would be. They had no choice but to form an alliance. The New Republic was slow, bogged down by politics and bureaucracy. If they wanted to stop the rising tide of Imperial resurgence, they had to act on their own. With a ragtag team of former Imperials, Republic loyalists, and outcasts, they set out on a mission to stop Order Null before it was too late. A new empire rises. Moff Kane stood aboard the bridge of his flagship, the Tyrannus, watching as his fleet emerged from hyperspace. The war was no longer about rebellion versus order. It was about the future. The Republic had failed before, and it would fail again. The Empire was the only path to true stability. Send the signal, he ordered. Across the galaxy, old Imperial officers received their call to arms. Worlds once thought liberated found themselves under siege. And in the darkness of deep space, a hidden fleet, the Eclipse Armada, Palpatine's true final weapon, began its slow march toward the core worlds. The Empire had never died. It had merely been waiting. Epilogue. The war that never ended. As the galaxy plunged once more into war, one truth became clear: the Galactic Empire had forever changed the Star Wars universe. Its influence was not just in its wars or its leaders, but in the very bones of the galaxy itself. Palpatine's empire had fallen, but the idea of the Empire, the shadow of an empire. For over 1,000 generations, the Jedi Knights served as the guardians of peace and justice in the Old Republic. But peace is fragile, and justice is often twisted by power. The rise of the Galactic Empire under Emperor Palpatine marked the beginning of a new era, one that would shape the galaxy forever. This is not the story of heroes or rebels. It is the story of how the Empire reshaped the very fabric of the Star Wars universe, leaving scars on civilizations, forging legends, and ensuring that the echoes of its rule would never fade. The Iron Fist of Order. When the Republic fell, many planets welcomed Imperial rule. War-weary systems saw the rise of the Empire as the end of chaos. But the peace was an illusion. On the industrial world of Haresh IV, Governor Tarkin instituted imperial policies that transformed the planet into a factory of war. The people, once free traders, were forced into service for the imperial machine. Dissent was met with swift brutality. "We do not serve the Empire," a rebel leader named Saul Ravan declared, standing before his people. "We will not forge their weapons, nor march in their armies." His defiance lasted until the first wave of TIE bombers leveled his city. Survivors were executed. Haresh IV became a lesson for all who questioned imperial rule. The Empire didn't just conquer planets, it crushed identities, molding them into cogs for its war machine. The Lost Jedi and the Purge that never ended. The Jedi were wiped out, but whispers persisted of survivors. The Empire knew that as long as even one Jedi remained, hope could spread like wildfire. On the oceanic world of Velmura, an old Jedi named Master Quen Ha concealed himself among the fisherfolk. He taught no Padawans, wielded no lightsaber, and used the Force only to guide his net. But when an Imperial patrol caught wind of an old man moving too quickly for his age, the hunt began. Darth Vader led the operation personally. "There is no escape," he told the old Jedi. Quen Ha fought, not for survival, but for defiance. He evaded stormtroopers, outmaneuvered ATSTs, and collapsed a coral bridge to bury a squad beneath the sea. But in the end, the Dark Lord found him. As he knelt, unarmed, before Vader, he only asked, "Do you remember who you were before?" Vader ignited his crimson blade. The answer was silence. The Empire didn't just kill Jedi, it erased their memory, ensuring that the galaxy would forget their legends. The rebellion's birth in ashes. Every empire breeds its own destruction. On Tantive IV, an Imperial officer named Cassian Vex carried out orders to suppress an uprising. He executed insurgents, burned their banners, and reported back to Coruscant. He was a good soldier. But one night, he received a transmission. "Brother, it's me. You killed my wife today." His own brother had been among the rebels. For the first time, Vex hesitated. And hesitation was treason. He fled, hunted by the Empire he once served. But his knowledge of Imperial strategies made him invaluable to the rebellion. He trained insurgents, led daring raids, and helped forge the backbone of the movement that would one day shatter the Empire. Without the iron cruelty of the Empire, there would have been no rebellion. The Emperor created his own downfall. The Death Star's true legacy. The Death Star was more than a weapon, it was a declaration. The Empire no longer needed fear, it had terror. When Alderaan was destroyed, billions of voices cried out, but in the shadows, something else stirred: outrage, vengeance, and determination. Even those who had once been neutral, smugglers, traitors, rogue senators, could no longer stand idle. The destruction of Alderaan was the spark that burned away apathy. From that moment, the galaxy no longer feared the Empire, it despised it. And in war, hatred is more dangerous than fear. The Emperor's greatest mistake, Palpatine's arrogance, was his undoing. He believed he could control everything: the Sith, the fleet, the very destiny of the galaxy. But he underestimated one thing: the will of the people. The moment Vader betrayed him, the Empire's fate was sealed. But even after Endor, the scars it left on the galaxy would never fade. Stormtroopers became mercenaries. Imperial warlords carved out territories. The remnants of the Empire, though scattered, refused to die. And from its ashes, new threats emerged: the First Order, the Final Order, countless would-be rulers trying to reclaim its dark glory. The Empire was gone, but its shadow lingered. Forever. Epilogue. The Empire never truly dies. History is written by the victors, but the legacy of the Empire is written in blood. It shaped the galaxy, forcing it to evolve. Without it, there would be no New Republic, no Legends of Rebellion, no need for heroes. The Galactic Empire changed the Star Wars universe, not just for a generation, but for all time.